So last time we tried live streaming and we were capturing in Fusion and we weren't getting our menus, so there was a lot of interaction that wasn't showing up. So I'm going to go through a very simple thing. Last time we made this in about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and basically it looked like a lot of magic was happening because this stuff wasn't showing up on the sides. So this time we are going to create a single lane curve, and we're going to do an experiment where this little taper here, we're going to see if a car can actually, so we're going to make this and then we're going to go print it, and we're going to see if a car can actually make it around a small curve like this with only the taper height. I did try to parameterize this, so when I was talking about that in the previous video, you can actually set all your user parameters and you can set all your values. And I was talking very in-depthly, but nobody could actually see these menus pop up, which is kind of frustrating seeing it after the fact. So, generally what you would do is you would want to come in here and change your values. Well, I tried this earlier to change it down to the same height as the taper wall height, but that actually caused the curve to really screw up. So just to show you, so watch this outside height. If we go to, say, 14, Fusion's going to try to recompute everything, and it did it in that case. It actually shortened it. So what if we took it down to 10? Oh, so you can see that we had some errors, and it basically couldn't rebuild the curve based on that. And if you remember from the video, we had to add our middle sketches to give it a hint. And that's simply because this geometry couldn't figure out how to line this geometry up, and then it couldn't figure out how to rebuild everything. So, and what's funny is you can't just undo it here by going back up to, was it 16 or 18? Like, that's not going to actually, it might work, but it likely won't. In this case it did. I think that's good. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just say okay, and I'm going to Control C that whole action there until this goes back to being correct. Actually, I might just like close it and not save it, so that way it doesn't save. Come on, don't save. Okay, but we're gonna create a single lane curve, and it's going to be the height of those tapers. And hopefully we can record all this and you can actually see it all. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new component. So right now we're at the root level of our stuff. So we're gonna create a new component, and it's gonna be single lane 180. Okay. So now we have our menu over here, and we have an origin. So we don't have any sort of things here. So how big do we want to make this? I kind of want to make a small one, and I want to see if it'll fit on. The build plate. So let's sketch the size of our 3D printer build plate. So how big is our build plate? So we're going to say build plate, and we're going to say it's 230, and it's 230 by 230. It's pretty safe to fit on there. It's kind of the max. 235 does fit, but it's really close, and you got to risk stuff peeling up. So we're going to create a sketch. And we're going to create the sketch on the floor. And with this sketch, let's do a middle center rectangle. And we're going to click here in the middle. And you can see now that these numbers are actually adjusting. The numbers wouldn't show up previously. Oh, so I can type anything in here, but we're going to use our build plate. Hit enter, hit tab, go to the next one, and say build plate. Alright, so this is our 3D printer build plate. This is actually going to be, I'm going to double click it. And this is actually going to be construction, just so that it doesn't get in the way of any of our stuff. Okay, so if that's our build plate, how big do I want to make this thing? Here, you know what, let's get a midpoint. So I'm going to create a midpoint down here, and then I'm just gonna, so see how that triangle pops up there? So creating a midpoint, and then I'm actually going to just move this whole thing. Is it not going to let me do it? Come on. Alright, fine. Doesn't want to let me. But I'm going to move this whole thing, and I'm going to do... Oh, you know what? It might be constrained on the center. So this might just be a good example of how it's not going to let me do what I want to do. Yeah, it's not. It's annoying. Cancel. So I'm going to delete that constraint. So I picked it, hit delete, do it again. Delete. Can I do the whole thing now? No. Hold control. I'm going to pick all these things, including my midpoint. I'm going to hit M to move it. I'm going to say go point to point. I'm going to move, I want this point to go up here to this point. Alright, so now our 3D print bed is up here. So I want basically my curve to go from here to up here to down here. And, you know, we can probably, if we want to be on the inside, we don't know how big it's going to be. So we're going to make the outside, we might do this curve a little differently. We're going to do, let's do an ellipse. Here, first let's put a point up here on the midpoint. Okay. And then let's do an ellipse with the center here. This is going to be there. That's going to be there. Okay. Now, what I would like, see, our track is going to be at an angle here, but we want the outside to be here. Let's think about this. That's pretty narrow. I don't even know if you can turn a Hot Wheels car around that small of an area. We'll try it anyway. So, we are going to create, finish that sketch. We're going to create a new sketch on the front. And we are going to, you know, if I split it in half, then I could do each side. Let's just do it like that. Okay, so we're doing a sketch on the front. We are going to modify, see how wide is our track going to be. So let's think about this. Let's change our parameters. Let's add a track width. So the track width is going to be 37 for the lane width plus the two outside widths, which we're going to make 2.25 millimeters, which is going to be 4.5 plus 37. So that's going to be 41.5. So let's try 41.5 millimeters for track width. And then just like we said, lane width, that's going to be 37. And then wall thickness is going to be 2.5 or 2.25. Was it 2.25? I think it was 2.25. And you know, I think you can actually compose up here. So you can say I want this to be lane width plus, let's see, 2 times track wall thickness. Yeah, and it gives us our value there. Yeah, there we go. So you can have an expression. That should be acceptable. Let's look over here and just take a peek at what our outside wall thickness is. Outer wall thickness 2.25. Okay, so that's good. So back in here. So now we're back here. Let's draw our construction line on the bottom. It's lined up there. So let's go track width. Okay. Oh, but you can see it's not dark. So let's go ahead and make this dark. Let's delete that. And I think the only thing I have to do is project this guy into here. So what that does is that pulls it into our sketch space. now I'm going to do this track width. Enter. Yep, now it's black. Okay, so that worked. So now this is actually constrained to our ellipse that we drew earlier. Or even potentially, I don't know if it tied it to the ellipse or to the box, but it's tied to something. So we're going to go here. We're going to make this track width. Okay, so that's blue because it can still be sort of freely moved by the simulation, essentially. So I am going to constrain that here, and I didn't specify. So what happens if we just say, let's just make one up, entry angle. We can't actually type it in, so we can't actually save it there. So let's go up here. Nope, don't do that. Let's go to change parameters, and we're gonna go ahead and set our angles. So we're gonna say track entry angle is gonna be 20, and it needs to be a degrees. So right now we're in lengths. For unit measurement, we're gonna go up here to degrees, 20 degrees. I'm gonna do another one. It's going to be max. So you track max angle. We also want this one to be degrees. And this one will be 50. Okay, so we got those two set. So now I can come in here and change this to track entry angle. And you can see it says FX20. These are all FX, so it's set it appropriately. Oh, there is that too. So we need to do a track height, which we actually had. Oh, where's my cheat sheet? I still have that printed off from last time. We're going to have a track height, and it's going to be 23.5 millimeters. And that's just something that we've kind of arrived at that works pretty good. So we're going to add that in here. So track height. And I said 23.5 millimeters. Okay, so we're going to sketch that. Make sure we get our box. Make sure we have our right angle. And we're going to call this track height. Okay. Then we have our track wall thickness. Oh, seeing it didn't do what I wanted there, so we're going to get rid of that. Try it again. Track wall thickness. And now we're going to do oh, we didn't specify yet, so cancel that. So now we're actually going to say that we want it to be the 5.3, which is our inside size, basically. So, and I think we called that track wall height. So this is going to be 5.3 millimeters. Okay. So we're going to sketch that guy. Track wall height, which is small. Track width. That's supposed to be 37. That's not the right one. So we're going to click that guy. I thought lane width. That's it. 37. So this is basically going to match up perfectly with our Hot Wheels track. Track wall thickness. And then this comes back down here. That looks pretty funny, but when we add our chamfer, it's gonna basically be a perfect match. We can go ahead and add. Let's go ahead and add our connector stuff in here. So that's just gonna be 1.4. Zoomed on in. And then this is going to be, I believe, 13. Do another one. This will be 3.5. Do another one. This will be 13. Do another one. 3.5. Do another one. This will be 5. Do another one. This will be 5. Let's do our midpoint here. So we're going to go off this guy. We're going to come down 4.5. And then we're doing the line. Get out of construction mode. Do another line. Okay, and then we're going to do our bounding box just in case this thing decides to get out of place. So we're going to start up here. We're going to go over 1.4. We're going to go down 5.5. Over here, it's going to be 1.4. Going to go down 5.5. Going to go across. That actually feels a lot higher than I expected. I'm not sure why it feels that high. That's okay though. So then we got our buffer zone, we got our track. So all we need to do now is we're gonna see if we can just use one of the cool things that you can do in Fusion, and we're going to rotate it over here. So good luck, everybody. We're gonna double click this guy. We're gonna hold Control, double click this guy, and this guy, and this guy. And this guy, and maybe this guy. I think the constraints come anyway, but alright, and then we're gonna say, I think we can say create, and we can do, oh, it's gonna make a liar out of me, mirror. And we're gonna mirror it off a line. Oh, I don't have a line. Alright, so cancel. We're gonna create a line. Create a line right here. We're gonna go up. Looks good. Reselect all that stuff. And this guy. Okay, so now we're going to mirror that. We're gonna pick the line, this one. Created that over there. So that should save us a little time. Say OK. Those are mirrored. Oh, and it gave us a little symbol to say that it was mirrored. So we're going to finish the sketch. So now we got these two. Now we're going to do a sketch on this other plane. And kind of the fun thing we're going to do here is we're actually going to grab all that same stuff. And I'm going to go copy. And when I hit paste, it should... Oh, it put it all the way over here. Okay. So it's in our plane. It's just in kind of a funny shape. So this is something we didn't get to see in the other tutorial because we kind of avoided it. But this thing is obviously not in the right orientation, and we want it over here. So we need to rotate it. So let's get it flat, right? So let's just get it down here. That looks about right. Yeah, that 160, and then it was at a 20, and so that should be 180. So this should be okay for here. But then we're going to move it point to point, just like we did earlier. And so we're going to go point here, and we want it to go right here. And then we're going to go back to free move. We're going to set our pivot point down here. And we got to say, okay, now we can actually rotate it up to the 50 degrees. Oh, but you know what? Our other guy is not there, and I don't see him. Yeah, I don't see him anymore. That may have backfired. Let's see. So we're going to go like that. And I don't see any of the constraints on here. Maybe it's because we're moving it. If I say okay. Alright, so, well, we're just going to do that. Heat's at 50. We're just going to leave it like that. Quick and dirty. And we're going to finish that sketch. Oh, and it's not in the right spot. So that's the other problem with this. So when we did our thing, we didn't get rid of these, and so it projected it. It put it over here. So we're going to go edit sketch. Come back in here and pick this guy. Hold control, double click, double click, double click. We are going to move him point to point. His point down here. Over here. Say OK. So now he should be on that point. Finish sketch again. Should be a little better there. And now we're actually going to see if we can loft this guy. And so let's just pick those for the first one. Let's pick these for the second one. We might have been able to figure it out. Let's pick these for the third. And then for our center line. Yeah, it looks like it worked. Why does it look so thick? It looks very thick. I'm not sure what's going on there. So let's look at here. So what happened? We had a 23 track height, but over here, like, what is that height? I think a better question is, what is the distance between here and here? 7.5. So what we need is 7.5 plus 5.3, which would be 12.5 plus 0.3, so 12.8. 12.8. So let's go back over here. I don't know how that got so far off. Probably because that first other one changes the. Let's see. So let's go. We said 12.8. So this is why you would always. So this is a good example of why you would always want to constrain. This guy should be fine. This guy is going to be really fat in the backside. So we're changes to 12.8. It shrunk that down. Say okay. Come back here. Oh, okay. That guy resized as well. I think we got lucky. Well, very nice. Very nice. Oh, and that one part got copied too. It's kind of funny. But I guess we don't really care about that. Okay, so we have these two halves of this curve. Let's go ahead and add our chamfer here. Now, I'm guessing, yeah, it can't do it because my outside wall needs to be just a touch taller. Let's cancel that. Because that needs to be 5.3. So I would have to design it to be that way, I believe. So I'm going to make my walls 5.35. Okay. And I shouldn't notice a difference. Pick that again. Chamfer again. 5.3. Yay! It needs to be, it is to distance. Hit tab. And it's 1.75, I think. And then we'll put plus so we can do another one. Do this inside one. 1.75 and 5.3. Oh, did it not change the inside wall height? That would be interesting. So 5.3 is not allowed on the inside, but it is allowed on the outside. 5.2. 5.3. Okay, so we can't do that one. we can do that one. So let's see here. Why can't we do that inside one? Is it because of that back sketch? Let's double check all this. So this is now 5.35. 5.35. This one's mirrored over here. So, oh, and that guy's mirrored too, though. Let's see. Let's finish that sketch. Oh, look what it did, though. It wasn't able to do... Is that right? No, what's going on? What am I looking at? It looks like it might not have been able to figure out. It looks like it kind of rolls over on itself on this inside. So the mesh actually did not generate properly for this. It's trying to do like some kind of odd Mobius strip looking thing. Let's go double check this side over here though. Okay, so this adjusted too. That's interesting. So all of these mirrored correctly. And our constraints do exist. This is kind of goofy. This kind of moved, which is weird. Let's get our other sketches up here. That looks fine, but this got really off. But we don't need it for this backside, so we're just gonna delete those to get them out of the way. Okay, but we have this. It's in the right spot. It has the right heights, but it did not create the. It did not create that backside properly. So we are going to. That's actually frustrating. It would have been nice if that would have worked. I mean, it's going to be a really fast curve. So what we're going to do is we are going to go back before the loft. So this will be just like last time. We're going to create a plane along a path. This will be our path. So you guys couldn't see this last time, but you can see up here is 0.75. Over here is 1 or 0. And over here is 0.5. So we are going to create a plane up here. Probably about here is probably good. So maybe 0.8. 2, where's 0.8 at? 0.8's way up here. How about 0.825? Just give it a nice number. 0.825. And then we're going to do another one. Not point along a path. We're going to construct a plane along a path. This is our path. It's going to be right about here, but we need to make it exact. So it looks like maybe that'll be a 0.675. 0.675. Yeah, it's going to be right, I think. Possibly. Looks pretty symmetrical. Ideally, you got 0.75 here, the 0.875, and the 0.625. That should be right. I think that's right. Alright, so we got these two. So we're going to actually sketch on this one. So we're going to create a sketch. We are going to steal one of these again. So we're going to copy it, and then we're going to paste it. It is over here, so we're gonna write it, and then let's pre-rotate it. So I'm gonna set the pivot point to be here. I think I'm gonna rotate it to the full 50. Oops. So we're rotating our pivot right now. So we're gonna hit check mark. Okay. So now we're actually gonna rotate our actual thing, and I don't see the thing telling it. There we go. So we're going to rotate it 50 up, and basically what this is going to do is be super aggressive, roll the car over, stick it in the 50, and then rotate through the backside. We'll see if this works. So 50, and then we need to know where to put it. So we sneak up here, and this point that they gave us is going to be our, this point right here is going to be our origin point. So we're going to actually move this guy over here. And we're going to say, okay. And we're going to finish that sketch. So now if we have our back sketch and that sketch, we should be able to create a loft. So if we move forward, now we can actually edit that. And we can actually add this guy into here. And our lofts are out of order, so it doesn't know what to do. We're going to say, hey, this is 2, 3, 4. And now, oh, it's still goofing it up, isn't it? That is unfortunate. So you can see how Fusion decided to add extra points on that right there. And then it doesn't get them right over there. So maybe if we rotate this down a little bit. So we're going to go cancel. We're going to go back to this sketch. We're going to edit it. We're going to double click him. We're going to hit M for move. We're going to set our pivot point down here. Say that's where we want it. And we're going to go back maybe 5 degrees. And say, okay. Finish sketch. We're going to edit this loft. And actually, I think we could go ahead and just leave it in there. But I'm going to pick it, make it the second profile. Still doesn't quite know. It still doesn't quite know. I'm going to say okay. We're going to go back to our sketch. So we're kind of just guessing here on how far we need to bring this guy down. Let's see. Come on. I don't know why it's being so picky right here. Okay, and then oh, that's my pivot. Do it 5 more degrees. Okay. Finish sketch. It still didn't change anything. So it's still twisting it as it comes around the edge there. Okay, there may be one other way to try to do this. So let's get rid of these construction lines. We're going to go to just before the loft. Oh, I don't want to do that though, that sucks. Let's see here, how can we address this? So we're trying to solve this problem. We might need to bring this guy back closer to us. So edit feature, and let's bring it maybe this way. Maybe like 0.845? How about 0.85? Say okay. So that should have scooted our sketch as well. Because our sketch is actually on that plane, which it then addresses and changes our loft. But we can see we are still getting a twist right there, which that's frustrating. So we're going to edit again. Let's back it off again. We're going to set our pivot down here. Confirm the pivot. No. What are you doing? Set the pivot down here. Too much junk in the way. Confirm the pivot. Move down 5 more. Okay. Finish sketch. That looks clean. There we go. So now that's clean. Okay, so this, and it actually kept the other side clean, but we need to basically make that symmetric. So what did we do? We moved this guy, edit feature, proportional. We want it to be exactly 0.8, please. Okay, 0.85. So we're gonna make this other one, edit feature, 0.65. Wow, those are random. Okay, 0.65. So it's basically 0.1 this way and 0.1 this way. So now we're going to go back before this, and we are going to sketch on this other one. No, cancel. We are going to bring that back. We're going to create a sketch on this one. We're going to grab this guy. We're going to go copy, paste. He went over here. We are going to rotate it just to be flat. We're going to set our pivot point here. And then I think we backed all the way up to 35 degrees. So, oops, here, set that. We're going to go up to 35. And then we're going to move it down there. Let's double check it, put it in the right spot. Looks like it did. Let's say OK. Finish sketch. We should be able to see that other sketch. We can go double check the actual measurements of that guy too. So now we're going to move forward to our loft. We're going to edit our loft. We're going to add this guy in here. He is profile 4. And that looks good, so we say OK. So that looks pretty good and symmetric. So this is a really tiny curve. This square on the bottom is the print bed. So we'll be able to slice this guy into maybe fourths and print it in 4 pieces and see if we can get a 180 that actually works. But so now let's see if we can actually do our chamfer all the way around. It is not happy. And likely because the curve had to be rebuilt, so it doesn't even know what it's trying to do. So we're going to add a selection. We're going to pick this guy. It is going to be 2 distances. His top distance we were doing 5.3, and then 1.75. And then we're going to do the inside one. 1.75 and 5.3. Yes. Okay. Alright, so if we get rid of our sketches, this is very, very close to just having essentially the Hot Wheels track all the way around. It still turns around, it turns very aggressive, and it's very small. I would like to see if this actually works. It's barely bigger than our print bed, so we're going to cut it in half, and then I think we'll cut it maybe just at these points where our sketches are. Seems pretty reasonable. Is that going to be a tall print? How tall would that be? That would be 175. That's not too bad. This overhang's kind of aggressive. That overhang is kind of aggressive. Could just print it flat. It's not as fun. It's still pretty tall. How tall is it? Could print it like a golden arches. That'd be kind of funny. So we're at 255-ish tall. It's not too bad. And we're just using the print bed as our ellipse. That's kind of funny. I didn't even think about that. It's kind of random. It's literally 2 to 1. I wonder. I kind of want to try it. All right, so we still need to put our inside lip so that we have something to Let's get rid of those. Let's create, actually let's get rid of that stuff. Let's create a sketch up here. We're going to draw our inside lip. 25 by 2. And then we are going to create we're going to finish that sketch. And then we're going to create a sweep. And we're going to sweep this guy around this. And we're going to join. Okay. So now we have an inside lip. This would be fun just to print freestanding like this, though. Let's go ahead and bring back these front two sketches. Let's see if we can actually extrude this and this back into it. I think these go back 34. Cut. Looks like they will be peeking through, so let's go back just before that. Let's get our sketches back. We have them. Let's extrude here and here. Let's go 36. We're going to join. Okay. So now when we cut, we'll have some protection. So we don't need that guy anymore. And yeah, I really just need to figure out where I want to cut it. And then how I want to print it. It's going to be super narrow. I don't know if the cars can make it around that back corner. That's going to be funny. This is so little. So little. Okay, so let's do it like... Let's create... Well, we have these planes. And then we have the back plane. So we're going to go ahead and split this thing. So we're going to split body. This is our body. And we're going to cut it first. Let's cut it right down the middle. Say okay. Now we have two bodies. So we're going to split those bodies. Splitting tool, this one. Okay. And we're going to split body again. This one. Tool, this guy. Okay. So now we can get that out of the way. So we got these pieces here. And I think I can just print those straight up. We're going to go ahead and add our little slim connectors to these. So what do we got here? We have... We're going to call this one the left entry. We're going to call this one the right entry. We're going to call this one the left back. And we're going to call this one the right back. Okay, so we're going to hide left entry. We're going to sketch here. We're just going to find the middle. Let's get a point. Can I do it right there? Good point. And then we're going to come down 2.25. And then our slim connectors are 13 this way, 13 this way, 2 this way, 2 this way, and then we connect them to be clean. Okay. Finish that sketch. Bring back our left entry. And then we're going to extrude that guy both ways. And we extrude him 21. It's going to cut. We look on the back. That looks fine. If we hide the left entry, that looks fine too. Okay, so we're going to hide left entry and we're going to hide left back. We're going to do it right here. This one's pretty aggressive. I'll be curious if... So we're going to create the sketch. Create our midpoint. Come down 2.25. Come across to your 13. Come down 2. Come across to your 13. Come down 2. Okay. Finish that sketch. Bring back the left back. We're going to extrude it both ways. Symmetric. 21 millimeters. Cutting. It did not penetrate. That's awesome. Get rid of left back. It's there. Get rid of right back. It's there. Sweet. All we got left to do is one more. We're going to get rid of the left entry. We're going to get rid of the left back. And we're going to get rid of the right back. Sketch on this guy. I'm getting tired. Let's see. Sketch on this guy. Going to create a point. We're going to create a line. Construction line. Non-construction line. 13. 2. 13. 2. Connect them both. Finish that sketch. Bring back our right back so we can cut through it. Extrude that guy both ways for 21. Okay. Shouldn't be cutting through. It's not. So we don't have to add anything there. Alright, so we have our little tiny curve. This should print well. Well, actually, we need to add our little supports so that it can actually print well. So we have something to stick it to the bed. So we're going to hide the 2 entry pieces. I'm going to do this one first. I'm going to sketch on it. We're going to go from here down, then over to this. And then so we don't get in trouble, we're going to go from here to here, to here, to here. Finish that sketch. We're going to extrude this guy -2. It's going to join. Say okay. Should be good there. We want that sketch back. We want our right entry piece. Get rid of that guy. We're going to extrude this guy to join. Okay. Get rid of that sketch. So that one's done. Go over to this guy. Create our sketch. Do some lines. Come in here. Okay, finish that sketch. We're going to extrude this guy, -2. He's going to join. Say okay. Bring that sketch back. Get our entry piece. Going to extrude 2. It's going to join. We're going to say okay. Get rid of that sketch. Alright, so the only thing we didn't do is add the little circles in the front, but I don't really like those anyway, because I don't really use the normal track connectors. So this should be printable. So we can see how long this will take. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to save this. Preview, high, okay. Tiny 180. Back. Save that. Save it here. Right entry. Save mesh. Okay. Left entry. Save mesh. Right back. Alright, so we save those. Let's bring up Cura. We didn't prepare this part. Gather. Let's just load them all. Alright, so let's just position these on the bed to see what's going on here. So you can see we actually use, when we use that outside of the bed as our sort of guide points, you can see that we were right on there. So when we print these, we're going to print them standing up using this this part. So we're going to rotate this guy here, this guy here. Let's see. Let's get this guy out of the way. This guy rotate here, and this guy rotate here. So now we can actually just tell Cura to arrange these on our build plate. This one's pretty steep, not gonna lie. Usually when we cut these curves, they're cut into 6 pieces instead of 4. I feel like we can probably do that. It'll be pretty iffy. Let's just slice it to see how long it'll take if we don't support it. Oh, I think I have supports turned on. And I think I have it set to be nice quality. Okay, so this will be 1 second. So that would take a full day. That's pretty funny. I think it actually is doing supports on it though. It is, yeah. So this is where it thinks it needs to support it. Ideally we cut these up so that we don't have to support them at all. And sometimes we just go for it and see how it looks. I might still just go for it. Let's do... Here, let's see how an individual piece. Let's go back to prepare. Let's pull this guy off, this guy off, this guy off. Let's center this guy. Let's turn off support. And let's make his wall thickness 2.28. Initial is still going to be 0.2. We'll do 2 walls and 15 infill. Let's see how long that guy takes. 3 hours. So we can prototype this in 3 hours. It should succeed. This will be tough, but if it sticks, then it'll be fine. And we don't really care about the inside being kind of messy. And it should be able to get that other stuff. So we're gonna give these a print. this is the little curve we designed. See where our swim connectors go. And then our Hot Wheels track connectors. It's pretty small. Printer's not the greatest on tall pieces, but it's not too bad.